Now, in SQL Server, a cursor is a database object that is used to retrieve data from a result set um, one row at a time. It's particularly useful when you need to manipulate a process or process individual rows and perform operations that cannot be done with a set-based operations. So cursors can be seen as a way to iterate over collections of rows and return by the query, similarly to looping structures and procedural programming languages. So why do we have to use cursors? So SQL Server is optimized for set-based operations. So, but there are scenarios where you might need to process data row by row. For instance, maybe complex calculations that depend on the data from previous rows, and then row-specific conditions, or interacting with external systems for each row. So, however, it's just worth noting that cursors can be slower than the equivalent set-based operations and should be used judiciously. And then now, a basic cursor operations, you can declare a cursor, declare the cursor. So you define the cursor and select and the select statement that provides the row set, and then you open the cursor, execute the select statement and populate the cursor, fetch from the cursor, so you retrieve from the next row from the cursor, and then close the cursor, release the current result set, and then finally deallocate the cursor. So those are the basic cursor operations. So deallocate the cursor, you remove the cursor definition, and you free up associated resources. I think we've done an example like that before. All right. So we can have we can declare maybe the employee ID, and then perhaps we can have the first name, and then we can have, let's just make this an int. First name, we can just make it foreign characters, and then we can have that last name. Looks better. And then we can actually declare the cursor. So select employee ID, and first name, and then last name from employees table. Then we open cursor. So we open employee cursor. Then we're gonna fetch the first row. So we fetch next from employee. Just want to copy this in my keyboard so that I can use it into at employee ID, and then first name, and then last name. And then we're gonna loop through the rows. We loop through we just loop through the rows. Processing employee, and then plus at first name, and then plus we concatenate with empty space there, plus at last name. And then we fetch the next row. Fetch the next row. Fetch next from into its ID. And then finally we close and we deallocate. So close and then deallocate. All right, so in this example, a cursor, we've got a cursor named employee cursor. So it's declared for the result set obtained from selecting the employee ID, the first name, the last name of all the employees. So the cursor is then opened and a loop is initiated to fetch each row into variables. So for each row, a simple print statement simulates processing, such as updating maybe records or performing calculations. And finally, the cursor is closed and deallocated. So just to so that we understand it better, imagine that you are checking a list of tasks on to-do list. So a cursor in SQL Server is like reading through each task on that list one by one, and then deciding what needs to be done for each task, just as you might mark each task as complete and then move to the next one. Based on a certain conditions, such as maybe as a task agency and complexity as well. So the cursor allows you to perform specific actions for each row in a separate in the database based on its data. So once you've gone through all the tasks or rows, you conclude your planning sessions, you close and deallocate the cursor. So you're ready to tackle the task ahead. So we can go ahead and execute this, and then we can actually see processing that is happening here.